Two.
Testing, testing.
Hello, hello.
White. Great. Is this your first kind of podcast conversation?
It's the first one I've kind of been a part of. Usually I've been on the other side, so it's
Yeah.
kind of different. I've always, like I remember when the pandemic started, we were doing not like something like this, something that was more interactive with music as well in the background.
Don't worry, we'll get sparklers next time. We'll get a full set. And
Bro, this is perfect, man. Honestly,
He's a production man. we gotta get his lights.
Bro, I need to get these lights. What are you talking about?
Dude, yeah, we've dedicated and
Oh,
invested a little bit.
Start from birds.
Oh, this is great.
Everyone drops a bird. Just starts playing the lasers.
Oh, right. I see.
so that way you have more to hold on to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
That's a little shtick.
that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's a bit easier for you.
That's
Alright. We're rolling. Are you ready?
Ready?
Are you more ready than ever?
Yes. You guys ready?
Do you want to position the camera a bit to the right so everyone can get in as well?
I think we'll come over when he's ready. Yeah, when he's ready to go. Currently, he's got a bun in his hand.
People sit here, man. It suits you really well.
You know the takeaway, ladies, when I was gay?
Really?
Right.
This whole time?
No, because I walked in the pink shirt and I'm like, oh, this sounds
Ah.
here. And then they didn't realize we speak weird.
Yeah.
So they're talking shit about me for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the food. And I grabbed it. I'm like, do you need a bag? Look, no, I couldn't go nudgy.
Yeah.
What? You
Dude.
speak weird? I'm like, yeah.
Actually, the other day I went there and they asked me, "Where's my friend?" So, and I thought it was Kevin, but it must have been you because there is a gay guy that works there, and I think they were gonna hit you up. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Actually, if you've got a minute, could you chuck it on your Instagram? Yeah, just chuck it on the live, and then I'll give you the link.
Are we
And
live
then,
now?
Yeah.
Oh, we're live. Should
Lucky,
we,
lucky you didn't say anything
introduction?
weird. Yeah.
No,
Of course. No,
well,
feel free. Feel
okay.
free. Do you want to?
Which one
Yeah.
do you want me to share?
If you can just
Let's
take
wait
a
for
photo
everyone
of
to
like
stop.
the setup if you want to, or take a photo of yourself, and then I'll give you the link.
Shall I
Oh
share?
yeah, share that.
Oh wait, I didn't realize you put me.
That's
as
okay.
collab,
Don't
yeah.
stress. It's all good.
Well, guys, we kidnapped Andy Hektic
Perfect.
here, and we
And
brought
I'll
him
give
to
you
our
the link as
stage,
well.
to our
So
little
if you go
room,
to link,
to a little
Yep.
dungeon. And
stickers one.
yeah, no, he was very
No, it's all
cooperative.
good, don't worry. So yeah,
We,
here's some- yep,
We
and
duct taped
then
his mouth really
YouTube
well, and he kept his mouth quite
.com.
shut, which was good.
slash
And
at,
yeah, it should be a good stream today.
yeah.
So
the
feel
gum,
free to
sorry,
have any
yeah, the at sign. Project
talks.
at.
10 pork rolls.
give us 10
Yeah,
pork rolls.
P-A-
We
oh,
want to
no,
be
just
sponsored by
P-A-C-K,
Bummy Hub,
C-K-E.
please.
Yeah, we
That's it.
changed it for search engine optimization. Yeah, and then sweet, and that should be all good.
Do you like the song
Yeah.
I put on my story?
What'd you put on? Oh my god, that was so inappropriate.
What do you mean it's
It's
inappropriate?
so inappropriate. It
He's
has
bouncing off his booty cheeks.
it has nothing to do with our boy. No, I'm just kidding. It's
I
all
think
good.
a lot of our fans are quite
Yeah.
fruity.
Dude, so yeah, we're happy to welcome somebody that we think of every single time we go to a rave. You are the reason why all of us boys are together. So we only met at 8 Years of Shock. That was my
Yeah.
first rave.
You're like
Yeah.
a Cupid. You actually brought us together. You
man.
don't know, but you're a matchmaker, man. You got
Yeah.
this guy and his girlfriend together, and
Yeah.
somehow you got me and my girlfriend together. So
Wow.
you're a bit of a Cupid
Yeah.
around here.
That's amazing to hear. No,
Yeah.
thanks for having me, guys. Really
No.
happy to be here.
Of course.
Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Oh, my name is Andy, aka Hectic. I run Shock events, Shock corporate. I do some lasers, do production, design
Damn.
stages. I have. It's only the other day I've realized like there's actually quite a lot that I do, and I think I've said to myself, not enough people see that. So
The behind because because I work in events, right? I work for like full weddings and stuff, and it takes a lot of effort just from one person to organize a small wedding. I can't imagine the amount of effort it takes to do a whole fucking DJ production. You need like the AV crew to be on time, on perfect.
yeah.
Everything's gonna be oiled and well. And yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot of planning. You have to, everything has to be documented, and you've got to come up with a plan, and everyone's got to stick to it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of variation and improvisation that happens along the way, but that's all part of the challenge. Look, I guess it's just become very normal to me because I've been doing it for a while, but
yeah.
certainly has its challenges. Like this year's had so many challenges. You know, I think every event organizer I know is going through their own kind of challenges. You know,
Struggle with it a little bit.
yeah, I think what everyone's seen this year is just a big drop off in attendance on all events. Like you look at the nightlife these days, it's not the same as it
Whereas
was.
Vegas isn't as shiny as it used to be, man. What happened? The strip used to be the spot, and now like these 18-year-olds want to come. They're like, I'm too good for the strip. I'm too good for this Vegas.
Well, I have to admit, like, you know, when I go to the Valley these days, I'm feeling more like a stranger than ever, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is
I
that?
agree with that actually.
Is it because like it's just the vibe's a bit off, or
What I'm seeing is like there's just so much change that has happened so fast, you know, like the people that are going out these days, I don't see as many people I'm familiar with. And I don't know, I just feel like people going out these days, their mindset's so much different, you know. I mean, back then, like when you guys first started going out, it's quite easy and accessible to go to clubs and attend this, attend that. Don't really have much of that these days. And even then, people don't want to attend like, you know, just what you want to call normal events.
Exactly.
I think people want quality these days.
over quantity kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling a lot more this year, you know.
Yeah, and that brings me to a question that, you know, I've been thinking of asking for a while. You do a lot of production, like, you know, for other events as well, other than just your own. So, you know, what's the balance like for you trying to continuously build your own event and then on top of that work through other people's event and help them, you know, lift them up a little bit as well?
Yeah, I guess I've always been working behind the scenes with so many events for a long time. And, you know, I even worked behind the scenes for other people's event before doing my own event.
Damn.
And that's kind of been ongoing since the very beginning.
Do you also have a full-time job as well?
I do have a full-time job as well.
Jesus.
I'm on my lunch break at the moment
Who
to
is
attend
he?
this.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am being serious.
Oh, do you know? No joke.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have.
Oh,
But
shit.
it's all good. I've got nice flexibility there. You know, they're
my
very
days.
supportive of what I do as well. So
That's super cool. Yeah,
that's good.
that's a tough thing too. Hey, like you know, I know that when I first spoke to Andy Ver anyway, he was struggling to kind of keep his personal life and his, you know, obviously like the DJing, the rave kind of section of his life kind of separate.
Yeah.
And it was hard to mix it in together. He didn't want people at work knowing. How do you kind of balance that? Or,
Look,
yeah.
I know exactly what he means. Like, you know, I don't talk about this to people at work because it's just, one, it's not really their business, and two,
Yes, yeah.
they're not interested in it. If they did have a genuine interest, sure, let's have a chat about it, you know. But for the most part, people kind of just leave me alone at work with that, which is good. They respect my boundaries and they don't try to ask on a Wednesday, like, hey, where did you DJ last night? Which, you know, for many years, like, I used to get that from people who'd have no interest in what I do. And, you know, those questions get annoying because office politics starts happening. Then people start thinking that you DJ every day. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
But go back to what you said about before with balance, you know, like, I think I enjoy the whole process of being creative, designing stages or elements for stages and whatnot, and, you know, just helping people kind of build their vision. That's kind of a lot of what I do, and what Andy Vo does as well. So like this year, I think we've worked on more on other people's events than our events, because that's just kind of how this year's been.
Yeah, like especially with that rough patch, you just want to help everybody kind of get their, you know, pick up their feet a little bit and really get the move on into the, you know, the next coming year if it runs smooth. Hey.
Are you open to suggestions and like make your events better? Like,
Absolutely.
So, okay, so this is my idea, right? T-shirt cannons. And like you get the fog guns, you know, at WoW they have like the fog guns, but like I want to use it just to like just some guy in the front just and it's in the face.
I think in Australia, like, you know, we have to be very careful with these kind of things because, you know, safety, I feel like in Australia, safety is one of those things where it's emphasized more than any other country.
Exactly, right. They're a bit more strict on it.
Yeah, like if we want nice things, you think the amount of things we have to do to prepare for that, you know, we have to be compliant, we have to make sure everyone's aware of it, we need insurance, like there's so many things to tick off, you know, and the worst thing that can happen with that idea is if you injure someone and like, you know, injuring someone at our events,
that's terrible.
will, you know, those are the kind of things that can really
Can we at least
ruin.
do like a DJ Oki, but like not like a fat
Like with
cake,
a
like
cake?
the Woolies mud cake.
You know what?
Dom's not asking, like, Dom's not giving a suggestion. He's just asking for permission. Hey, can I bring my own shirt and can I shoot someone in the face on the stage?
You
Just
know
a
what?
bit of fun.
If you can get Brandon to voluntary be that guy that
That
gets
guy.
hit in the face
Yeah.
and you throw it, why not? You know?
All right. for the views, man. For the views.
I think he's more than happy to take a face for cake for,
Yeah.
for views, dude.
For 1 million views. No, I'm just kidding. 2013, big year for you. You know, I was looking at some of your posts from
Yeah.
a little while ago now. Wild Styles, you know, the player. Big set for you, you know,
Yeah.
definitely. Or not big set, but big lineup for you. And what does it mean to you? And how did it even get started to that position? If you want to explain for the people who don't really know what that is as well.
Well, 2013 is when Shock started. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't want to do events because at that point in time, I was really focused on Hektic. I was, producing music. I was really focused on trying to get Hektic somewhere, and that was my primary focus. But the most depressing thing at that time was while everything was going good for Hektic outside of Queensland, when you look inside Queensland, you're like, there's nowhere to play.
Yeah.
And I couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with, like just playing elsewhere and then being at home and just have nothing there, because at that time, like we were seeing massive declines with the hardstyle scene then. And I said to myself, look, I genuinely wanted other event organizers to thrive and succeed, but it just wasn't to be. So I took it under my own hands to, run Shock events. And that first year was so challenging, it took everything out of me. It nearly set me broke because events is like that, if you don't, if you spend big money on it and you don't get the turnouts, then of course it's gonna hurt. So I kind of experienced that for the first 2 events, doing Shock. So just imagine you have like these big lineups with like the player, Wild Stars, and then second event being D Block and Estefan.
Yeah.
And those turnouts being, in my opinion, they were very poor attendance, and that shattered me. And you think like at that point, how do you keep going? But somehow, the third event we did featuring Techno Boy ended up being a close to sellout event, and that was enough to kind of reignite the fire and keep going forward, But I learned many things along the way. I think in 2014 everything changed when Hard EDM Brisbane started up, because I made myself an ultimatum. If we can't get a community up and running, then I don't think we have any chance for a scene here.
Like we've started to realize more than ever, like building community, that loyal fan base is probably matters more than anything. Like when I first started Project Act anyway, I wanted virality. I wanted things just to go crazy, like in an instant. But it creates that, what did you say to me? Yeah.
What,
Like in terms of like that loyal fan base, like.
Oh yeah, the loyal followers. It's kind of like you grow like a percentage. You grow 1% every day, and by the end of the year, you've grown like 100%. Whereas if you just go viral once, they're like, okay, cool, here's whatever, and they'll kind of like drop off. Whereas the people that follow Project Gact, they're very loyal. They'll tune into the stream like for 10 minutes at a time. They'll like every post, they'll comment somewhat. It's really good, and it's really positive. And the fact that we can build a community so, I guess, quickly in retrospect is very impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you guys are doing is great, because like I used to, do not something exactly like this, but do like Hard EDM or Shock Live, where we'd play some music, feature some DJs, talk about the industry. But this feels very up close and personal. It's good to get this perspective from, non-professional industry workers.
Exactly. Yeah. We recently had a post with Alex Nugget, that's going pretty crazy at the moment, like for us anyway, in perspective. But it was talking about how people go to events nowadays, not really going for the DJs or not really going for the culture of hardstyle, but going for other reasons, suppose say. And what do you think about that? Because obviously, from an event organizer perspective, you want people to come, and marketing is a big thing, right? Advertising. So
yeah, it's that's some of the change that's becoming very challenging to work with. Because you think of how we first started and the community aspects. I have to admit, over the years, I have started to lose track of that, but it's probably because I'm taking too much on. When your events get bigger, your focus changes. Like there's only, I guess over the years I started to realize what my capacity is, and I'm trying not to do absolutely everything, because by doing that, certain things start to suffer. And this opportunity here, makes me want to contribute more to the community. It really feels like I'm going back to my roots doing this.
Oh, that's awesome.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. We all appreciate
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah,
And-
as we said, you mean so much. To us,
No,
and, yeah.
No, but yeah.
Andy Hektic, bro.
Yeah.
He's the godfather.
But look, what Alex said, it's, with that being said, I guess how I look at it is, what can I do to kind of, bring back those community vibes? It just feels like we're starting again from how to bring back the community to what it was,
Exactly.
and
Yeah, the energy, the hype. Yeah.
but it takes a collective of us to do it. It takes what I'm doing, it takes what you guys are doing. I know Nugget is doing so much to improve that. I think out of all the DJs, he's really thriving with the community.
Yes.
He's doing something that the people are really appreciating, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And if more and more people do that, I think that's how this community is gonna thrive again. Because yes, like it's great when, like, what I still hear to this day, and it still makes me feel good, is when people say, "Oh, we can come to these events, and we feel welcome, we feel safe." Everyone is very friendly. If we bump into someone, everyone's apologizing, and those are the kind of things.
Sorry, man. Oh, my bad. Hey, bro, it's chill. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, those are the kind of things I want to continue to see, because I never get sick of hearing those things. And it's great when you go interstate as well. Like, I was in Adelaide, and like, I had to go to the bathroom while operating lasers, and getting through that crowd, I'm like saying sorry like a gazillion times, and everyone's just like, no, all good. Even some people just stand out of the way for you and like, come through. I'm like,
You want a drink?
yeah. Even had one person
drive-by
do it.
drink?
Yeah, even that too. So it's great to see those kind of vibes. I just feel like hardstyle, hardstyle is one of those genres that consistently has those vibes.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what we appreciate about it, isn't it? Yeah, we always say how we're so accepted, and that's what we want. We, unfortunately, crowd chants are awesome here, but the people joining in crowd chants is slowly reducing, isn't it? And it's slowly the tide to tipping, and the scale's kind of dropping to the other side.
Yeah, and I think what we can do to contribute to that is, like, man, if you have like a group of 10 people who are super enthusiastic, and there's 200-300 people who aren't, they will follow those 10 people. It needs those 10 people to show them the way,
Yes.
And like, I think it's very important for us to show these new kids the way. Like, it's easy for some people to be like, oh, these new kids don't know anything, and then they start blaming them for, not being with it. And I think that's the wrong approach. I think we have to be like, look, we all started somewhere too, Surely we were educated along the way.
Exactly.
Why can't we do the same?
My first time, I was like, oh yeah. I never really understood it was fuck yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and I kind of just joined. I didn't even know what the fuck I was saying. I was like, oh cool, but everyone's hype. I'm like, you did. Oh yeah. And I was like, it's whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like, I think what we want to supply as a channel and as a community, as you said, like, we're pretty close friends with Jamarijan, somebody who's probably gonna turn the tides a little bit as well for the hardstyle industry in Australia. Like, for us, we just want to educate people. It's not necessarily about if we're saying that you're doing the wrong thing or you're not got the right vibes or whatever. It's a bit disappointing when you can see that the energy is not the same. But at the same time, as you said, we started somewhere we didn't really know, and if we can just help expose and educate to those people who don't understand it just yet and are probably there for the opposite reason, we can just help them, guide them into the right place, which will help everybody enjoy the rave or in the events in general, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah. Back to balancing your life, man. So, production, it's a big thing for you, traveling a lot. How does that affect your social life and everything like that?
I think these days, as I'm getting older, I think the traveling itself probably kills me more than anything. Like, the last 2 Adelaide gigs I've done, believe it or not, have been real fly in, fly outs. Like, I get there, or I'm supposed to get there at like 12 in the afternoon, set up, be at the club pretty much from when I arrive, stay there until the show finishes, quickly pack up, and then board my 6 a.m. flight on the way home to Brisbane. So I'm literally waking up in my own bed, sleeping in my own bed, and doing that whole gig in Adelaide, So
That's crazy. That's what like.
You gotta try the Virgin Lounge, bro. You try the Virgin Lounge? This guy brought me to the Virgin Lounge one time, and I was like, no way, it's a magical place. Free beers.
Oh yeah, and sometimes they have like free Betty's burgers. I don't know if they
Right.
still do it or
Nah,
not.
not often. Yeah, we went one time. Someone actually got us a ticket, and then we abused the Virgin.
Oh, yeah.
it was crazy. Yeah, so I will be definitely collecting my points from now on.
No, it's certainly certainly
yeah.
helps, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think I'd be lost without the lounge, because on the way back, I'd go to the lounge in Adelaide, take a shower, and then board the plane really
Yeah.
fresh. So that certainly helps.
Yeah. Do you guys have any? Feel free to sit back and relax. By the way. Yeah. I don't. Not, yeah. We're
bit too tense.
we're so
tense.
keen. You know.
You
We're,
guys making me nervous, man.
no, definitely not. Yeah. Do you have anything that you would want to ask? Please do. I don't mind.
Jumping back to community and I guess that sort of thing, do you feel like the DJs that you get on now, that they have a role in building that community? More so in the sense of, I find that hardstyle is very niche,
Yeah.
and it is quite difficult, but at the
Exactly.
same time, that's why the community is so good, because of that niche. It's a very select group of people that kind of enjoy that and they understand the vibes that come with it, right? Do you think the DJs, that you get on, do you feel like they should try to play a certain type of hard style to try and make it a little bit more like friendly, like beginner friendly?
I think, in a way, like yes and no. I think playing the music to suit the crowd would certainly make it a bit easier for you to kind of vibe with the community. But like, I think everyone has a role, not just DJs. But let's talk about DJs in particular. You know, if you're gonna play sets, I feel like if you want to maximize from it, be with the crowd, be part of the crowd. Like once you finish, forget you're the DJ and just be with the crowd. Like. I remember I used to do that for so long. I mean, I can't do that as much anymore because I'm just so busy doing the events. But like, I just think it's important to remember who you were before you became a DJ, because it's so easy to lose yourself and it's so easy to not have that punter vibe anymore. Because once you lose that, it's your life in this industry just becomes different. You listen to music different. You can't appreciate music the same way as a punter does. I would love to feel like everything you guys feel when you go out to like a Midnight Mafia or a knockout, just being able to go there and losing yourself to this music,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think DJs can definitely socialize more, like that part is just as important as playing a set, because if you want to succeed in this industry, you need people to like you. You need support from the community, and like if you have that support from people, I feel like you can get away with playing something harder or being a bit more, how would you call it? If you want to be more creative and play something different, if you don't have the support of people when you're playing this track that no one knows or it's completely fresh, you may not get that same reaction where having that support, you would just have that natural support to play that track. You have more confidence. So yeah, I think it's important for DJs to socialize. Like that element just has to be there.
Yeah.
I think it builds rapport as well. Like if you're a DJ, let's say for example, Jim Marijan, when he played at the Last Shock event, I saw him afterwards and he was like talking with the crowd and everyone's saying like, oh, you did a really good set, and he has these small crowd interactions where it stays with him forever, and then now they associate that positive interaction with that DJ, so they're willing to support him more.
For sure.
It works in unison.
It works in unison, yeah.
Like I saw when we watched the Epic live stream, DNA played at the start, and then he was roaming the crowds afterwards as well, which is like super awesome.
Was he
an
lost?
artist. Maybe, possibly.
Did you
who
get lost in the
knows?
one in the green room or
Yeah.
something?
I mean, that can happen.
It's like, I just want to get like a bottle of water, bro.
Yeah.
Why am I in this?
There's so many people.
Yeah, sometimes it happens like that. You go somewhere and then the unintended consequences is you gotta say hi to a sea of people before you reach your destination. Like I've been with like Sway and the guys in Sydney. Like let's say hanging out with Sway. I remember like we're going to the car from Massive and it's taken like 20 minutes to get there because he's just saying hi and bye to everyone along the way. But that's great. Like that just shows you like he respects the whole social and community aspect, and that's the role he has to play to maintain that. I certainly would do the same if that was me as well, but thankfully I'm not as busy as Sway.
Do you, like, I've heard he's a bit of a funny guy. Is there any like memorable experiences other than that, like that really comes to
Out of
mind?
that, bro. Out of
So,
that. We'll cut it out. We won't make this out. Don't worry.
I know he's one of the most forgetful people ever. Just some of the things he says, you know how you have that one friend and you're just like, oh, Sway.
Because because he recently, before his epic set, he posted that thing with HSU where he was talking about picnicking.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Fuck off, Sway." Like, come on, man.
I feel like he's a bit of a troll. He just kind of like just talk shit. It's
Yeah.
just funny.
He's an easy target as well, no doubt.
All right,
No doubt.
we'll attack him this time.
And I'm sure he'd be happy to be part of this. You know, he'd like
Yeah.
a lot. You'll find a lot of these guys would be happy to be part of this, man. It's a good thing to be part of. Like I remember when I did this, I was asking Tone Shifters, Code Black. They were all good for it. You know, they didn't want anything in return. They're just happy to be
Yeah.
part of it. So.
What did you do in terms of like I guess when you say you mimic or something like this? What was it? Please?
So I was DJing. You know, so I'm always playing music. Always,
Yeah.
it's like listening to like a hardstyle podcast with some social interactions. You know, I don't think
Yeah.
we'd get as deep as this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so different, you know, and for me, it's just good to be on the other side of the podcast where I was the one kind of hosting and, doing all the editing, doing all the scene changes.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work,
Yeah,
man.
you should see him. He's like, the other day we finished the epic stream at 12 a.m., went home, and then he busted out videos for the next day just so we could capitalize on everyone, like searching up epic and all that.
I'm
He's
very thankful that
Yeah.
it paid off. That was really good. Like people, because it was such a relevant topic, it popped off quite well.
Yeah.
And then because of that, I guess the algorithm saw that one video did really well, and so then the other video that we posted with Nugget did really well.
exactly it just
So
pushes it
hopefully
up.
I'll bust one out today.
Yeah.
We'll name drop Hectic.
But yeah, sorry, continue. Yeah.
No, you guys did well though, and that's the game of social media, like knowing when to post. Like I didn't post my video till yesterday because I was waiting for that, the epic hype to kind of die down a bit.
Yeah.
Had I posted on Monday and Tuesday, I probably just would have been drowned out by that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, Andy, why is it at 12 a.m., man? Like, why is it all the way at almost at midnight?
Yeah.
And then I looked at his views and I saw his likes. I was like, what? He's doing better than us.
His first video, I think the algorithm was being friendly to me.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, it was super good. And the content, as I said, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. I think when I was looking back at your post on Hard EDM, I was like, you need a video of this and you need to bring it back. And
yeah,
I think that's what people are loving right now.
and I have to admit, like this whole year,
Yeah.
I've probably been the most quiet on social media than I've ever been in the whole however long I've been in social media.
Yeah.
And like, I think I had good reason for being quiet. I've had a lot of challenges this year with social media. Like I just took a massive break off it, and I think that did me well because I was able to concentrate on things better, get more perspective on, what this year and future years are going to look like. Like, even came close to quitting Shock this year, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I came so close, and it was for all the wrong reasons as well,
Please
like,
enlighten us. Yeah.
because, I think if I were to quit properly, it would be the day when Shock just doesn't work anymore, And that wasn't the case when I was going to quit. I just felt like, I don't know. I felt like my standards were getting too ridiculously high. And like, if I didn't meet those standards, like I would beat myself up harder than anyone that could beat me, Like I would
Exactly.
put myself in just such a real bad mental state. And, but I've kind of moved past that now, and like, I think the break's done me well because I've been able to think, what is my vision? What do I want to post as Hectic? Because I've been too busy posting as Shock that I didn't even know what to post as Hectic anymore,
Yeah.
And like, for ages, I'm like, what am I meant to share? Nothing felt natural. People kept saying, oh, you need to jump on TikTok. Yes, I know that, but then what am I going to post? Like nothing. I've always wanted to feel natural with this. Like what you guys told me here coming into this, we want to be natural,
Yeah.
I'm all about that as well. And when I didn't have any ideas naturally, I'm like, I can't do this. And then it was only just recently where I'm like, actually, I know what I'm going to post now because I do a lot of things in events, but I just never show it. So why don't I try and add a spin on this, try and offer something unique.
Perfect.
Because, there's a lot of other content that other DJs that are doing, I don't want to do that. I want to do a little bit of that, showcase more behind the scene with events. And,
You want to do like TikTok dances and everything like that?
that could be a possibility, because
Just,
I'm a unfollow. Quick.
because you got to realize I still am a punter like you
Yes,
guys. Like when I
yes.
go to these events, I still love to have a dance like how any
Exactly.
normal punter would. I'm no good at muzzing, but
Nah, man.
this may be a good opportunity for me to showcase
let-
some of that.
We'll get some of the TikTok influencers to teach you how to muzz. I
I
think
would
that would
love
be an
that, man.
awesome
Yeah.
segment.
Yeah,
There's
that-
so many good dances on TikTok.
Oh, believe me, I tried to learn how to muzz. I think before Carnival last year.
Yeah.
And like I was going through this whole video slow mo, and then I'm just like, yeah, I got it. Let's do it normal speed. I'm like, no, it's not.
I'll stick to standing with my arms crossed.
Hey, that's my signature move. Don't fucking steal it, bro.
We've got something from Sarah Lee. Do you know Sarah, actually? Do you?
Is that Justin's sister?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Dom, feel free, or Will.
Oh, Will, you go.
Yes.
No, well, just Sarah says, "Are you hoping that you quit shock when you can trust the responsibilities to another person?" Like, I guess that is a really good question. Like, how are you going to know when can you pass like your legacy on? Because that's what it is, right? Like, that's what we've been running for 10 years now.
When I was
like
going
Batman.
through that mindset of quitting this year, that's kind of what was running through my mind, right?
Mm.
Who can do it next? And I wasn't able to answer that question, and that's what kind of made me realize, like, you know what, there's still work for you to do, like I said, my reasons for quitting was just so stupid. Like when I think about it, it's I even like sought advice from a lot of different people in the industry, like from
Yeah.
Pete from HSU especially, and I think his feedback in particular really touched deeply,
Yeah, stuck with you, hey, yeah.
because he's saying, look, I know exactly how you feel, and I guess him saying that just kind of vindicated the way I was feeling, because you think of someone at Pete's stature, he's running the best events in all of Australia,
Exactly, yeah.
and if he can think similarly to that, I'm just like, whoa,
Yeah.
guess my thought process,
It's not
felt a
just
bit normal,
yourself,
yeah,
yeah.
it
You're
wasn't
not
just
alone,
me,
hey.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then he told me not to quit, and he gave me good advice, and I was like, you know what, I'm not done. I'm not gonna quit anytime soon. I'm actually more motivated than ever, and that's why this opportunity is good, because I felt like I've been able to gather all my thoughts, gather all my plans, and come here confidently and share it with you guys.
Is Pete the kind of guy to be like really aggressive with his feedback, or is he like oh no, it's okay, don't worry?
Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
No,
is he
he-
like,
Don't
get
be a
back
bitch."
up? What are you doing? Shock's not gonna run itself.
He can be. He
Yeah.
can be, like very passionate
Yeah.
when he wants to be, but he's definitely the smartest person I've ever met. Like, I remember when we were organizing, I think Shadows of Wonderland back in 2018. I just couldn't keep up with his thought process, like just how he was thinking and what he wanted to do. I'm just like, how am I struggling to keep up with this, So
Yeah.
going through that whole process with Pete just
Mm.
taught me to kind of start thinking like him more.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I like to think like if we have another shot at doing this event, I'm going to contribute a lot more. I'm not going to fall behind with his thought process.
Yeah.
I like to think this time I'll be able to catch up to it.
It's
you
not a
know?
competition, Andy.
No. No, but it's just more of like, look, if you're gonna contribute all this, I'd like to do the same.
Yeah, that's super
and-
awesome, and I think that's what we want to do. As I said, like build that community up again and build that energy in conjunction with you guys, because obviously you supply the events, you supply the place that we go to, and we're just the people that bring everyone together and like give the good vibes again.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what we
I'm
want.
just there
out
for
of
a
it.
drink.
You're just there for a drink.
Just there for a
Must be
drink.
just me. If you don't mind digging a little bit deeper into like, because I've had that thing where the expectations, I'm not sure, as you said to yourself that it was, what's it called? Like what you wanted and what you wanted out of it that really brought you down because it didn't reach that target, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was the same thing, but at the same time, I felt like people online expected something from me when obviously there is no expectation in reality, right? Can you kind of go through what you were feeling and maybe what instigated that and the catalyst?
Yeah, I think it all started at 10 years of shock, believe it or not.
Mhm.
Like we had a great event then, and like I find it hard to tell myself that. That's kind of the expectations I have on
We
myself.
loved it. I like personally, yeah, it was
Yeah.
a great moment to relive. Yeah,
And when I think about it, it's great, but I remember just at that point in time, I'm telling myself like, look, put it this way. I wanted to get a complete sellout for 10 years of shock.
mm-hmm.
We were close, but like, you see what I mean? That's kind of what brought me down to the point. So unnecessarily,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, what brought me there? I don't know. Like, I think what I underestimated this year was how many people went down to Midnight Mafia. Like, not gonna lie, we've seen more people travel down to Sydney events, like, in bigger numbers than ever before.
Oh, of course,
know?
definitely. We've
Like-
seen it like in
You'll
the
be,
flesh.
you'll be on
Yeah.
the plane and like you see like a hoodie, a HS hoodie, and like this guy's gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen it, and I think it's
Yeah.
just because of the hype that had of Knockout last.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Look,
It's such a large event, and it was the first time post-COVID that something of that scale was done.
Exactly.
and I understand if I was a punter too, I would do the same. I would not do the dirty double.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
just focus on that one
This
event.
guy did the dirty double last year. How did you feel?
Yeah.
You went listen out and also on knockout.
The next morning, I was at the airport. And I'm like, yo, it's MCD, but I'm like, nah, I can't MCD. I'm too tired, bro. And he's like, yeah, man, I can't do it either. I'll see you at the event.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I was upset with, like, I felt like we lost at least 1,000 people to Sydney, you know, and if we had that extra 1,000 at the Fortitude, like, we wouldn't have had enough, like, people would have missed out, period. You
Yeah.
know, so, but I guess on the flip side, when you look at it, it just shows you we were still able to get a strong attendance despite
Yes.
that.
Exactly
You
right.
know,
Like, it was
so-
huge. It was still really busy, packed almost to the brim, really. Yeah.
Yeah, because I really want to see, like, you know, I still want to have that one event where everyone in Brisbane shows up. Like, there's no distractions, there's no interstate event to follow, you know, the following day. So, you know, what we'll see, like, next year at Shock Events is, like, we're going to see more major international acts across, like, you know, during the whole course of the year, as opposed to waiting before, you know, Midnight Mafia. Like,
Yeah.
we'll still have those shows,
Uh-huh.
but there's going to be shows kind of with nothing, no interstate event to go
Oh,
to the day after.
super
You know,
awesome,
and have
yeah.
major acts for that. So,
I actually had a friend of mine, a close friend of mine. I said, I'm interviewing Andy Hektic tomorrow. And he's like, can you ask him what's going on with Shock this year? I'm keen to see.
Yes,
Because
no.
it's hard, you know,
Yeah.
progressively getting bigger and bigger. So obviously, in order to top that, it's going to be harder and harder. And I understand that. And you have the support, which is super awesome. You have all the people nearby you ready to back you up on that. But yeah, we're super keen to continue coming to
Yeah.
your events, man.
well, before we get to next year, I'll tell you about this year, like, just some
Yeah.
of the challenges we had this year, you know?
Feel free, yes.
Like, we didn't get a lot of the acts that we wanted this year, and it was just very challenging to coordinate those acts, you know, like, let's say Sick Mode, that kind of came so unexpectedly. Usually with something like that, you'd have like 6 months kind of leading up to it.
6
You know, you would have a firm idea of you know, where you want to do it and who you want to book, but because that came so fast, you know, we're scrambling to find venues in such a short time frame. But you know, we still hosted the event. Sick Mode sold out, but like, you had
It was a sick night.
it was sick, yes. You had Headhunters after that, but then, you know, after Headhunters, like, we weren't able to get major acts, you know. We had bass modulators, we had Audio Freak, but like, for those two events, you know, we did see a decline, not a massive decline, but we did see a decline in numbers. And that's kind of what made me it prompted me to be like, okay, we can't do this too much because it's just how the industry is right now. People aren't going out as much as they do, you know. They're
Exactly.
picking and choosing, and I felt like maybe with those two events, it just wasn't their cup of tea at that point in time, you know. Maybe they want something more. Maybe they want your Sick Modes, your D Block and Estefans, and that kind of caliber. So that's why we didn't do too many events this year, because we have great momentum from the last events, you know, and kind of wanted to keep it that way. Didn't want to live with having that one event this year where everyone says, "Oh, that was a flop," you know, or "How shit was that last Shock event?" Like, those are the kind of comments that would just, not make me feel good. And I really wanted to avoid that this year.
Of course, definitely. Yeah.
So that's why coming into next year, you know, our plan is we're gonna have major acts throughout the year. Like January, we've got Gamma. March, we've got 2 events. Believe it or not.
Can't say hey.
Can't
No,
say just
can't
yet, but
say.
what I can say
Damn it,
is
fucking lure him out.
it's going to be a big challenge because, like, you know, I don't think I would ever do this normally, but it's too hard to say no to. You've got acts who are just as good as, you know, Gamma, D Block, and Estefan, Sigma. Acts along that caliber, 2 weeks apart from each other. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how Queensland reacts to that.
That's Avicii.
It's a he's bringing back.
Hologram set.
You know how like Tupac has a hologram set? It's gonna be Avicii on the
Oh.
DJ decks.
Man, if I could do that, I'd need a bigger venue.
Yeah.
So
HSU and Shock, you know, we're starting to see, we're bringing back that old collaboration from the past. You know, how does it affect, you know, what you do with Shock, and how do you think you can utilize it in order to bring yourself up? Like, collaborating for us is huge,
Yeah.
you know, in order, like, we're a very small group, but we have a big dream. And then working with you guys who have done it and been through it, you really teach us a lot. So, you know, working with HSU in comparison to Shock, how does that inspire you and keep you going forward as well?
Oh man, when you see what HSU are doing, it's not gonna lie, man. I look at it, I think fucking, I want Queensland to have that. You know, so that to me is the biggest inspiration I can get from HSU events. You know,
And we can, right?
I think we can. Like, I think it's just gonna take a while because in Brisbane, every good thing takes a while to grow. You know, like if it was that easy, I think someone else would already be doing hardstyle and not me.
Exactly.
You know? But it's not. Hardstyle here it's a difficult thing, you know, and I I still haven't cracked the code yet. I'm still learning about what people want
Exactly.
and what to deliver here. So
Yeah.
but with with working with HSU, we're getting a lot more support from them. I know they want to showcase our events more this year.
Awesome.
Like, I guess what we're getting is, you know, just assistance with acts and getting more exposure, you know. Like, we still have the creative control to deliver these events
Yes.
how we feel. I mean, obviously with HSU, they want the event to succeed, so they'll do what they need to do to help with that. So, but yeah, I feel like the partnership with HSU will definitely grow next year. Whether we do another event or not, like that, no doubt, not gonna lie, that's on the cards, but it's all about the right opportunity. Like, you know, last year we were gonna take it to the next, this year we were gonna take it to the next level and host like a 3,000 person show, like do our first proper indoor festival, you know. We had this venue lined up for it,
Birdies.
but not there. It's actually outside the valley, you know.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I've got two venues in mind that are outside the valley that can host this type of show, you know. But once again, it's just about the right opportunity. I felt like if I hosted it this year, it wouldn't work.
No, yeah, probably not. And I because there was so much going on in interstates, right? But we want to make Brisbane shine eventually, and we want people coming all over to us. Because
Let me ask you this, guys.
go for it.
How do you think live concerts, like, let's not talk about hardstyle, live concerts like your big acts like your Taylor Swifts and all those kind of names coming to Australia? We're seeing so many live concerts this year, right?
Yeah.
How does that affect you guys going out? Does it limit, if you were to go to that, does it then limit your events? Like, do you start going to less smaller events because of that?
I would probably say yes, only because some of them are really expensive. Like Coldplay next year is $500 and something dollars
yeah.
for a standard like general admission.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can afford to go to that and then to go to the to a Shock event the week after or the week
Yeah.
after.
And
There's
then
just too many things going on.
Growing essentials costs as well.
Yeah.
On top of that, so yeah, I guess from a financial perspective, it's extremely bad. But personally, probably not as much because I don't find interest in that. But if I were to go, yeah, I guess it would affect it quite a bit. Yeah, I would be too tired or drained, and I'm getting older as we speak. So yeah, definitely. How about yourself, Dom?
I think it's pretty much the same. Like last year, like I think we went to like 3 not Shock events, HSU events, and it like it drains like what do you call it, your bank account.
Yeah.
You come back from we came back from Midnight Mafia and we're already planning like, all right guys, we've already pre applied for knockout and like I'm gonna save another 2K for this, and I can't go to these smaller events or can't go out to like clubbing with my mates because I'm trying to say sorry guys, I'm trying to go to Sydney in 2 more months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So definitely it makes a big impact when other big fish are there.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm feeling from a lot of people this year, you know, and like, I'm not trying to compete against them, and that's why I'm trying to work around it.
Perfect.
Like, you can't do anything about these events, you know, they're always going to be there. And look, you said $500 for a Coldplay ticket, like that's the kind of prices I'm hearing for any type of these concerts these days, you know, it's outrageous, man. So
Shock's only $30.
no, our prices have gone up, and like, it's not because we've wanted to. I'm just thinking, like, let's break it down. You look at the euro, right, which is the currency we deal with for hardstyle acts.
Yeah.
The dollar to the euro is the lowest it's been. Flights are going up. Like they're almost double the price these days. And if you're paying business class for an artist,
Yes.
it's like sometimes the price of the flights, accommodation, visas, and all that can be either just as much as the set fee or even more than the set fee.
That's crazy.
So you're like paying 2 set fees, and then it's like how can you sell $30 tickets? I think those days are long gone. You know, like I don't think you can get away doing internationals at that price anymore.
No,
Not unless you're willing to lose money and be happy with that. You know?
Yeah. Depends how committed you are. Really,
And that's the challenge we have next year as well. Like these acts we have are gonna be like your $70, $80, $90 acts. You know,
And that's okay though, because like once again, it's quality over quantity, isn't it? Yeah.
correct.
Like we want to, like already people are paying so much for HSU tickets. In all honesty, like they're quite expensive. So like the price, if you compare it to a shock event, is extremely large. The difference. And personally, like I went to every single HSU event last year from start to finish, and my favorite one was the Halloween one in Sydney. And Sarah can back me up on this one, where it was like this little small theater, you know, and it was the best energy, interaction, engagement, everything about it. So people need to stop looking at only the big raves and the big events and start seeing that this is where the hardstyle culture comes back. It's like I'm going for a DJ that I love and enjoy their music, and it doesn't matter where they are. I just want to see them. Do you know what I mean?
I can believe
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because a lot of the artists that I speak to, you know, they do prefer playing the smaller shows as opposed to the bigger shows. Like, don't get me wrong, playing like 20,000 people is amazing, but you don't get that same vibe as you do in a 1,000-person
The
show.
intimacy, right?
Yes.
It's like I've got a mate who's like trying to be a comedian, and he loves playing the small cellars. Everyone's very close. The laughter's echoing, like you know, it's very infectious. I feel like with smaller raves, like you said, right, the Halloween HSU, it's like the fuck yes feel louder. The oh shit it feels louder.
The
Whereas
acoustics.
Whereas if you're in an arena like Knockout, you know, it's a lot of open noise. It's hey, someone got a vape. It doesn't really like it doesn't feel no matter how many people there are. It still feels really sparse compared to being like really packed, even though there's like 30,000 people there, right?
Exactly.
But it is very intimate. Like I noticed that a lot of these shock events, a lot of the DJs afterwards are out in smokers or you know just as
Exactly.
booth, and they'll just be talking to everyone.
Well, we saw Red Hot the last shock event, which was super cool.
And it's just those sort of interactions which kind of, like you said, help build that community. Like,
People remember it, right?
Wholesome, like really good, wholesome vibes.
Just
grab
police.
the door. Do you want to drink anyway and like take a little break or something?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
Water? Yeah.
Yeah, why
Grab
not?
him a glass of water.
We'll do a quick little break.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Sarah said, Shock is so great as smaller events. Even Halloween this year, it's Shock. If you get a crowd as the same mindset, it's so great. That's...
No, 100% agree, Sarah. Like I think that Shock Halloween event, we ended the year in the best way possible, and the momentum and motivation I've got coming out from that, and same as Andy Vo, he can speak the same. It's just immense, you know. So had that event not ended that way, I think my mindset would have been different, but I couldn't have asked for a better ending, to be honest. So.
Hey, Kevin, can we get a couple glasses of water? Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
What the fuck? I'll go get it.
No, it's okay. We have a production team for a reason.
It's a team for a reason.
to keep it running. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. So yeah, this is the live stream aspect of it. Hopefully, as we get more people joining on, like it'll just be runnings. And I think this is something that I would like to incorporate in our community, where you know, like we did the epic live stream that day. So we live stream the live stream, which we might get in trouble for, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah.
I don't know. Pete might be like, you put it on YouTube, and we don't want it on YouTube because it's.
I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen Pete share other people's footage of his events on his story, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, I think that's fine. I think, Usually, if Pete is upset, he'll make it known, you know.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's like God thundering. You're like, you shit. You know you pissed off God.
He's at my door. He's like, take it down.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. That's my girlfriend
Yes,
Eileen. I think
Eileen.
we've seen.
Hey, Ellen.
Yeah. So we actually met at 8 Years of Shock, and that was my first rave event ever. Like literally my first hardstyle, first rave event of all time. And it was very spontaneous. I went with my cousins and all that.
What the fuck are these cups, dog?
Yeah. They're for beer pong.
Oh, these are so useful, even for beer pong standards. What is this?
I think they're from Costco or something.
Imagine Imagine playing King's Cup with this,
So,
dude.
as Brandon's mentioning, we're now introducing Shock's speed dating.
Shock speed dating. We should. Can you have like a table? You know the bar area or the table area in like the music hall? Yeah, we'll just have people rotating through there.
That's not a bad idea. Like, but you know, believe it or not, I've
Yeah.
actually seen a couple of proposals at shock events.
No way.
Yeah, like,
Really?
had people hit us up beforehand saying like, I think we had one during Darren Styles set. Someone was like, "Oh, we really want to propose when he plays this song," and
Yeah.
yeah, it's happened.
Damn.
Yeah, it's happened twice, I believe. The
All right.
proposals.
Hey, you chuck your Ram Ranch song whilst while we're at it.
18 Nicky Cowboys. Hey, Eileen better remember, I actually met Brandon half an hour before her. Eileen,
They
you
have
better
a-
believe that.
Ongoing competition.
Yeah, because they're technically together, but I met him first by half an hour.
I
So,
walked through the door and I saw Dom. And Eileen, I had to walk through the crowd a little bit before I met her. But
I feel like I've known you longer though. But
really?
yeah.
I think, yeah, so, yeah, 8 years of shock was my first time.
Sorry,
around.
Eileen, I guess it's
think
just
'cause you've
crowd.
seen me so often and we
True.
always say hi to each other. And, you know, we're pretty close with Justin and Sarah and all that. So obviously there's the connection there. And I'm super grateful for that. I feel like, as I said, you've been a great influence into, you know, what my life has turned out.
Thanks, bro.
Hardstyle definitely isn't solely what I am, but it's definitely played a big role in finding out my character and finding out who I am as well. And I want people to start to know that, like, hardstyle definitely brings that. There's still that culture, that meaning. It's not just noises. It's not just sounds. It's, you know, there's a lot of emphasis put into what this is meant to give somebody when you listen to it. You know, going back to, I started off with Kuhn. You know, Kuhn was a big DJ for me when I first started, and Headhunters even before that. You know, before all the big pops and bangs and all that, it was, you know, it just means a lot to me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you, man.
But anyways, continuing on, rock climbing. You know, you're a big rock. We talked a little bit off
Yes.
camera, and so yeah, how often do you rock climb? Why do you do it? Go for it.
Well, I mean, rock climbing's now my exercise. You know, it's one of those things where you can get big workout, you get your fitness up. It's a good social activity. It's also one of those things where you really have to use your brain as well. So like, because I use my brain all the time creatively, like rock climbing just goes hand in hand. Because you look at the wall, you're like, how do I do this? So you kind of try and figure that out in your head and then do it. So there's a lot of problem solving aspects with climbing as well. But every Wednesday we've been meeting up, going to a different climbing gym, and there's been a whole bunch of people from, you know, the shock scene coming as well. Like yesterday, I think we had like maybe 14 people there, which was our biggest attendance. So.
Sick.
But those opportunities are good because I get to talk to people properly. Because as I was saying to you before, at
Yes.
events, I find I can talk to people, but it's I can't socialize properly, because if I socialize, I get invested. I like to talk longer.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
if I'm at events, I'm always passing by. There's always something to do. So if I'm going from one place to the other and I'm talking to people, it's not going to be long, you know. So yeah, it does bother me that I don't get to talk to people as much. So I try and capitalize off, you know, these sessions, like rock
Yes.
climbing sessions, and anything outside of shock. I'm happy to socialize outside of shock events. you
dude,
know?
that'd be kind of cool, like a shock rock climbing club. Like you guys already kind of started doing it.
It's
right?
starting to become like that.
And then like, you know, like for example, like if you know you're at a shock event, you meet some dude who's like really cool, but obviously the only time you get to meet up and catch up is at a shock event. Dude, why not meet up at rock climbing every weekend or every Wednesday? That's kind of sick, dude.
Yeah, it's growing, and like it's actually becoming very exciting. Like one of our promoters, Connor, you know, he's been spearheading that a lot, trying to get new people in as well. And you know, we were saying the other day, like every Wednesday we're so excited about it, you know, because you never know who's gonna come, and it's just always good vibes. Because like even for beginners who don't climb, it's a different mentality, because you know, I like to think the climbing scene is very similar to hardstyle, because if you're a newbie and you get there, they'll make you feel welcome. They see you struggling, they'll give you tips, you know. It's not like, yeah, it's not as daunting as going to the gym. Like just imagine if you're seeing someone bench 100 kilos and you first come into it, you're like,
So I can't,
I'm gonna just move away now. But if you see someone climb and they're awesome at it, you're like, wow, I want to do that. You know,
Yeah.
you start to think it might be possible for me to do that. you know?
Exactly. Yeah, true. And you kind of relate that back into your daily life.
I
as
do,
well.
yeah. So the community aspect there, it just feels like it's never left. You know, I feel like I'm going from one cool community to another, but there's we're starting to see cross pollination between those two.
We got a question from Hughes Wang. I don't know if you guys have already answered this, but are you, Avox, and 99 still making your own music?
We haven't for a bit, and I guess that comes down to, I mean, me having my, issues with social media, trying to get past all that. I like to think that'll be on the cards next year. We were pretty hard at it last year, but look, I think a lot of us needed to kind of figure out our direction this year, and that's okay. But no doubt in the future, I'm sure we'll come back. Like we did start something called Unity this year, but once again, after 10 years of Shock, I just kind of put myself in a hole, got off social media and just kind of forgot about it. But like, music is one of those things I do want to start focusing on again, but it's not going to be like a major kind of focus for me, because I'd much rather see guys like 9 to 9, Nugget ride that flag in Queensland more. Like I don't need to be that guy that DJs everywhere, that plays all those big gigs. Like I'm happy to play some here and there, but I don't need to be that DJ that's riding the flag for Queensland. I'd rather be with those guys riding it together,
One thing I wanted to say is like, so going back to, putting yourself in that hole, can you tell me about your experience, like that really tough experience compared to when you were first starting Shock, 2 really outlier moments in your life where you've had to really pull you out. How did you get yourself out, first of all, in between 2 of them? And how did it make you feel, like in total,
Yeah, that was tough. I feel like the first time, like when Shock was failing, it's easy to quit because of that, That was the mindset when I first started Shock. But now it's like, you want to quit for the opposite reasons, You're quitting because Shock is successful. Like that's essentially what it was. Yeah. I guess, I don't know, like, I guess after starting to see the industry change so much, maybe I started thinking to myself, oh, this is how it's going to be forever, And like, I don't know, I really don't know how I got myself out of this. I really just needed to take a break off social media and just clear my mind, I started hiking.
Andy.
Oh, you right, buddy?
Well, that's I'm really sorry, Andy.
No, you're right.
Continue.
Yeah, excuse me. It just took a lot of kind of self-reflection and just try and really process what it is that I do. Like, because for a long time, I never really said to myself what I do, and because I just do it. I don't think like the significance of it and what else I can do with it. I think that was the other thing.
Yeah.
And just thinking all about, just reflecting, consolidating all the thoughts in my mind and thinking, what is it that you want to do next? And it took a good part of 6 months to figure that out,
It's really hard, isn't it? Like a lot of the times you're your own harshest critic, right? And so unless you can really take a step back, like you said, stepping back from social media, where you gave yourself a break to actually be able to consolidate your own thoughts, because there's so much noise in social media. Yes. I can imagine being a DJ, running Shock, the amount of messages that you get through, how you interpret those and whether or not you let those affect you or the way that you operate your business, like it would be really, really difficult.
Yeah, like I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I didn't want to join TikTok because I was just one of those guys, But like I've started to realize like it's such an important platform that you need to kind of have in your business, and we've got the Shock TikTok at the moment, and Delise has done a fantastic job with that, and I would like to help her a lot with that this going forward, because I definitely want to add like my own flavor to it as well, and kind of make it feel more like it's coming from us as well. Like we'll still have Delisa doing her videos, that's great, but I think we can contribute more to that as Hektic and as Avox and as Shock events. But then I also want to do something about my own personal social media, and through that I'll be showing people like how I set up events, how I plan the events, because like I said, there's a lot of interesting content that I know I can post, and I know that no one else is doing this, so I'm excited to showcase that.
No, it'd be really good to see, because I feel like a lot of people, especially the Queensland scene, right? I know that it's definitely a lot smaller than Sydney and Melbourne, but I think you know, it's generally because people don't really understand or appreciate the amount of work or effort that goes into, you know, planning the events. Because I know that if you book at a venue, you've got to pay so much money for security and then for the licensing, and then you have to make minimum bar tab requirements, and then on top of that, getting your acts in and paying for all of that. It's I think a lot of people just have a misconception. You're running, you know, an event, you guys must be successful. It must always be, you know, blue skies and sunny days.
And you have to have 100 lasers and all this. Yes, it's, you know, and that's kind of what happens when you start, you know, running these type of events. Once you do 12 lasers, you know, the mindset for the next event is what we want: 14, 16, 18, and
18 lasers.
you know, we try to do that. You know, I think this year we did slow down a bit on production, mainly because everything just started becoming more expensive, you know. And I think this year, out of every year I've done events, I've had to focus on the budget more. Like, you know, like I'll tell you how I used to run events. I never look at the budget, you know. That's how much I love doing this. I never cared about the whole money aspect. I never cared how much things cost. I'm just like, yeah, let's just do it. You know, I don't care. And I would never see what our balance is until after the event. I'm like, oh, that's where we're at. Oh, we didn't lose money. Great, you know. Like, but I can't have that mentality this year because you just can't. It'd be naive and stupid to do that, you know. So
can you bring it back though? Like at this point of time or this coming year, do you think you'll have that mindset going back into it?
Yes, I think so. I think I'm going to be more clever at that. I am going to have newer kind of production methods this going forward. So I think our first event back next year, we're going to see some new elements and some, you know, just some updated laser shows. Like when I went down to Adelaide, I learned a lot working with those guys down there, and there's a lot I'm going to take back here.
Yeah.
Like,
that's crazy.
I think,
you're still learning. That's
yeah,
awesome.
bro.
Yeah.
What you're going to see, like at all events, is more precision. You know, you're going to see the production match the fake drops more than ever. You know, like we want to get that perfect, because I'm starting to realize hardstyle is becoming so complicated that you get fake drops, and sometimes you'll get a drop and then it will turn into a fake drop, and I'm like, like what, like, you know. So you start to think, how does your production match that? Because you can't go spastic to a fake drop; it just doesn't look right, you know. So those are the kind of details I'm looking at. How, like, just being more precise with the timing and making sure the colors match, and just making sure everything works in unison. You know? So,
just because Sarah's asking for a new viewer, if you haven't already, or if you've discussed this before, but in your opinion, has there been a shift of the vibe in the community with a new generation, or is it still the same? You know, and this is probably from the perspective of an event organizer. How do you feel about the community at this point coming to your events?
Look, it definitely has changed. I can't say whether it's for the better or the worse, but I can say that I need to take more responsibility in contributing more to the community. Like, I think one thing we have to realize, guys, is when COVID happened, right? All the new 18, 19-year-olds, they didn't really have anywhere to go. And then once they were able to come back, they come back into such a, you know, I guess the change they see is so significant, you know. They didn't have the mentoring or support that we once did when we first came out, you know. So what you see there is a whole change of attitude, because no one understands the grassroots of events. No one understands the community aspect, you know. So I think when at that point in time, it certainly changed. The community was certainly different. And I see it's different because I'm starting to not recognize as many people, you know. I used to take great pride in having some sort of idea of who's coming in. But nowadays, like, so many new faces come, and we've seen so many, like, you know, the older faces not coming out as much. So you're seeing, like, the old being replaced with the new, and it's just a new challenge trying to get that new community to, you know, be with it. But we're starting to see them understand it, you know, because I'm still seeing the feedback on, you know, the safe community, you know, being felt welcome. So I think that part hasn't changed. But look, Sarah, I know I got to do a lot more to, you know, improve this community, and that's kind of what I'm set out to do next year.
Awesome. That's...
I hear a lot of stories where, like, they got into hardstyle because, like, their older brother was into hardstyle, and they're like kids watching, like, these events in Sydney, and, like, back in, like, you know, the older days where they had, like, the flare pants and everything. That's where they started, and it's like, it's kind of like a familiar thing. If you had an older brother that was into hardstyle or, like, you know, classic hardstyle, you somehow end up there as well. Whereas I think these days it's kind of like it's people finding it for themselves as like their kids, like in teenagers on TikTok or like Instagram.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
it's that social media aspect. And I feel like even for our experience, we started off the small local ones and we had that progression to the bigger raves. As for people are going to the bigger raves and then kind of getting bombarded with the culture and then having to find their kind of passion for hardstyle after that as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Because like they go to the big events for like for like the spectacle, whereas we
Yes.
started with like the small grassroots like shock,
Yeah.
and we built the community and we
Yeah.
felt awesome in the community, and then we go to the bigger ones, we're like, oh, this is awesome,
yeah,
but
exactly.
we never forget where we come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that, what you said there, that's what I like to think that will remain the bigger we get. Like, just imagine one day we could host like a Midnight Mafia. I would like to think that we can have 20,000 people who are with it, with the community, have those
Yeah.
grassroots and continue those vibes. Like that, to me, I would love to see more than growth itself. Because, yeah, it's easy to get like 1,000 new people who don't know what hardstyle is, but I just think, what kind of impact would they have positively and negatively, you know?
Yep.
So,
Going back to the very start, Andy, like, how did you even get into hardstyle? What were you doing before that? What inspired you to start even, kind of building your own career within this space?
You have any photos of you with baggy pants doing
Yeah.
the shuffle?
oh man, I don't think I'd have to look through.
Have
the
you worn?
archive.
Have you actually worn?
I have owned a pair of fats.
What are they called, sorry?
They're called fat pants.
Fat pants?
Fat
Yeah.
pants.
I need
So-
one.
Did you have like the chain, like the like Kingdom Hearts kind of style?
I did.
Oh, that's actually sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I rocked it hard. I had my PhD hoodie at the time as well.
Damn.
Look, I guess like I said, I like to still think I'm a punter like you guys.
Yes,
That's where
yeah.
it all started for me.
Mhm.
I was heavily into shuffling at that time. I was always been into hard dance, which is what it was back then.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I turned 18, I was living in Adelaide at that time, and Sway and Pulsar came down for a set, and I was like, holy shit, these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
I remember going up to Pulsar, and at that point, I was like, I want a DJ. He's like, do you have any advice for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like, mind you, this is while he's playing,
Yeah.
Like, you see this random kid come up to him during his set, ask him this question,
Yeah.
and then it's just like mixing, oh, just don't give up, mixing it. And I'm like, I will take that with me to my grave, bro. And it's true, because it's so easy to give up in this
Yes.
industry. You saw what I said before about
Exactly.
wanting to give up, and those are the kind of reminders I always have to tell myself when things aren't going well, because it's so easy to give up. Because everyone wants to play. Once you start DJing, it almost becomes like a drug, like playing these gigs becomes so addictive, and if you don't play that gig, you start to feel real shit, and then like you start complaining. I've seen it all. I mean, I've been through that myself. But it's through Adelaide, seeing Sway and Pulsar play, and then I moved up here maybe a year after, and then that's when I was like, yep, I bought my first set of decks and never looked back. From that
Sick.
point.
Awesome.
And then from there, like, when did you start really get into the groove of things?
Well, I played my first gig ever at Club Candy, and that was at the Family at the time.
Is that a strip club?
No.
This guy's playing hardstyle,
Yeah.
while guys getting lap dances in the back, dude.
Well, Club Candy's not around anymore, and like, back in the days, they used to run events like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday night, like during uni holidays, and they would pack out every single floor in the Family.
Wow.
And my first set was meant to be a closing set, and like, what happened was they had this headliner there, and I don't know where she was from, but she was playing like very tribal jungle music. And I've never seen. It was really like, because I was looking at the promoter, he's looking at me, and the MC's looking at me, and I'm just like, we're all looking at each other. We all look at the dance floor, and I've never seen so many people crowd the stairs trying to get upstairs, And then, so then the promoter at the time, he taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey man, you ready to play?" I'm like, "But what about her?" He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna tell her to stop." So I got thrown in the deep end, and it's like, it's literally 12:30 at night, and I'm about to play, and I'm like, holy shit. And then the moment I started my first track, that dance floor just started to get busy, and then, I think that's kind of where I made my name for myself. I took that opportunity, played the best set I could, and thankfully a whole bunch of people remembered it. And then the next time he brought me back, and then that kind of became like my gig for the next few years. And I remember the second time I played, like, this is the kind of commitment I did. I I burnt like 300 CDs at the time.
Wow, yeah.
Individually burning them.
Yeah.
Fucking took me ages. And then I printed like a CD art for it as well, and I had to attach that on each CD.
Damn, we need to find one.
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah.
And
I
give
feel
it.
like a Nard one to be. This is your CD. Remember this? Like, oh shit, you guys find
Some
it.
people still have it, believe it or not. And like, and that for me, that's what I did. I gave away 300 CDs to people on the day, and that's kind of what I had to do to kind of get
your name
support
out
from.
there.
Yeah, get my
Yeah.
name out there.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So
We see a lot of DJs now, especially at club DJs, where they're continuously playing at the clubs and kind of just giving that presence there. But then we're also seeing a group of DJs that are kind of just making it off social media and kind of just jumping from working on it at home to stages, big stages, big names. Colin Hennis, for example,
fuck yeah.
How do you feel about that? And like, how do you mentor somebody in that case as well?
Yeah, mentoring these days is such a different kind of avenue now. Like I've been mentoring DJs and just anyone in this industry for God knows how long. And like, I think nowadays my advice is like, you need to be on top of social media, like especially TikTok more than ever, like it's where the bulk of the content's coming from.
Yeah, exactly.
And it like, you look like, speaking what Colin did, he was the first guy to do something like that, and now he's reaping all the benefits. It's going to take someone like twice the amount of effort at the very least to kind of do what he does,
Exactly, yeah.
But like, it's just hard. Once you see someone do that, it just becomes harder for the next person. But once again, just don't give up, man. You got to keep at it. No matter if you get like 5 or 10 views, you just got to be consistent with your posting. And I think having no expectations on that, on your social media, will certainly help you, because if you think, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm aiming for 50 likes each time, you don't reach it, it's just poor mentality. Have like yesterday when I uploaded my TikTok video and on Instagram, I just walked away from it. I didn't even bother checking to see how many views I had,
I
because
checked for you, bro.
so that's kind of the
Andy 50 views. 50 views. Every half an hour.
I made it.
Andy 70 views.
So those are the kind of things I'm doing now to kind of help myself with social media, because it's, how easy it is to lose yourself with that.
Of course.
And I don't want to rely on views. If I get 10 views, so be it. I'm still going to keep posting,
Yeah.
And that's the mentality I have right now.
That's awesome. That's exactly what we needed, especially when we first started. And we wish that we had that kind of support at that time, where it's just like, keep going. It doesn't matter. You're passionate about it. You love this, and this is what you're going to do. So just post it, whether people see it or not. And those who want to see it will pay attention for sure, will catch on. And this is big because a lot of smaller DJs, Kick Cheese, Jamarijan, starting to use TikTok as that advertising marketing space, preferably over a way to make it. It's very different vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the way people view content these days, so different. Like, I look at how we do our media, I just don't think the after movies, they don't work as much as they used to, People would rather see an after movie filmed on a phone these days.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Besides like hiring a dude with a DSLR just to go around the crowd and like, oh, she's cute.
Yeah,
Dude, you're gonna take Jake out of his business.
Wait, I'm not saying, no, Jake can just downsize to an iPhone 15 Pro Max.
Really?
Like, and then he'll still make the better, like, the same amount of content, but like, everyone's like, ooh.
And he's talking about me in the crowd doing the weird TikTok dances with my
What the fuck? Let's go on stage, dude.
But yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the more genuine aspect of social media is coming through. It's being oversaturated with all this, like these expectations and this status and all that stuff, and people are kind of getting sick of it now. So it's time to bring back that genuine feel. And, as much as we are a hardstyle channel, we want everybody to learn this about their life, isn't it? Yeah. Like, as you said, you apply a lot of the stuff you learn from, what you do in your profession and your career almost. And then apply it into daily living things, isn't it?
That's it, man.
Yeah, that's super cool. What are some, like, you go back to building a community and you're gonna single-handedly do that, but like, if we were to help you, how could we help you? Or as everybody who would watch this as well, what can we do in order to expose and educate?
I think you guys are contributing a whole lot by doing this, like, I feel when I first started, there were very little or no one kind of, getting themselves out there and trying to create a platform like this. I think raising awareness needs to come from various different sources if we want this community to grow, you know? Like, I'm hoping that someone can look into what you guys do and think, fuck, maybe we can do this to, you know, maybe we can do something different to build this community aspect, you know?
But don't copy us.
Yeah. But, like,
We'll fuck you up.
but naturally, guys, as this becomes more successful, that's what happens. You know, you
Yeah.
start creating clones. You actually inspire people to kind of create something similar, and that's kind of what happens when we do events. You
Yes,
know, people
yes.
see what we do, they would want to do the same as well, and I've accepted that. You know, and I think if that's going to be your situation, the best
Yeah.
thing you can do is just make sure your product is the better one.
Exactly, right? Keep growing.
Yeah.
I have recently stumbled across NSE,
Yeah.
you know, and they're starting to grow a little bit. No Sleep Entertainment. So it's a little, like, you know, kind of like Shock in Melbourne, slowly building up a little bit. Yeah. I was listening to, like, Alex and his set play. So they've started to pick up a few DJs as well. What are your recommendations, you know, from when you first started to now, and what can they possibly do? Because I'm sure, you know, they're quite young as well, from what I believe. What is some advice that you could possibly give, as you said, as an inspiration more than anything?
Yeah, look, it's, you know, I see what they're doing in Melbourne. It looks like they're really focusing on the community aspect down there
Yeah.
as well, which is really cool to see. They just need to keep doing it, man. Be consistent, and once again, it's all about not losing yourself in it. You know, I've had that challenge so many times. You know, and it's so easy for ego to come in the way, and it's so easy to, you know, get yourself in a successful position and not take feedback from people.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to listen to people's feedback, you know, even if they're wrong or
Yes.
even despite what you think, you need to be in that position to listen to that, you know, because it's just very important to improving your product. So, look, it's, you know, I think hardstyle is becoming the most popular genre in Australia. And there's going to be more and more promoters that are going to come out of this, you know, whether it's for all the right or wrong reasons. But I mean, and that's kind of what my time off in social media has done for me, you know, just kind of given me a better mentality to, or be in a better state of mind to kind of work with other promoters instead of against them. Like, I'm sick of the whole, you know, oh, if they do this, we got to do something the same day. Like, I'm so sick of that. I just want to put it this way. I just want to be able to do events, be happy doing it, and not have to care about what other events are doing. If they want to do events, great. That's great. Let's both just do events. Let's both thrive, you know?
Yeah.
It's,
Because it's a community as a whole.
It is, because
Yeah.
the truth is, we need options, man. We can't just have Shock doing it every time. There needs to be other options. And like I said, this year, that's what I've started to realize the importance of, you know? I think, I wouldn't call it competition, but there's a good saying that, you know, your competition should make you better. And when I see other people's events doing well, it encourages me to do better too. So
Perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, like, you know, I hope NSE continue to do successful events, and I hope they can contribute, you know, something to the wider Australian hardstyle scene.
What are you still learning now? You know, like what do you dive yourself into?
I think now it's getting more detailed, man. Like, you know, with production, I'm focusing on that. With the community aspect, this is kind of where I want everyone's help with, you know, because I'm starting to kind of run out of ideas on what I can do. And I think I need help on this more than ever now, you know. So I'm all for ideas and whatnot. And, you know, and I guess one of the reasons why I want to be part of this show is to, you know, be part of the community again, because for a while it's just I've lost grasp of that, you know. And like I said, it's just one of those things where that aspect has to remain strong, or otherwise everything that we're doing, you know, it's like, what is it for?
Yeah, exactly. Like we've definitely struggled, or like for me personally, the scene down under, you know, pretty big. Like they've got Hardstyle Australia backing them, Tozer, big name DJ, you know, so it's the competition or like competitive vibe from the get-go was already there, and for us to produce something that was like, okay, we want to become big enough where people will see us, but we've got somebody standing in our way and we're kind of sitting in their shadow a little bit, right? But we've come across and we've said we're doing something almost different. Like they're focused on the DJs, their career, what their profession is, and we want to get personal into what you do and your thought and your mindset, and you know how you even come about this, how much money you saved in order to start up, right? Like all that kind of stuff. What do you feel like we could be doing in better?
Well, I think you got to realize what you're already doing is vastly different because you're focusing on people here. Hardstyle Australia is, Hardstyle Australia.
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
they're both. I mean, look at the content; it's different.
Yeah.
Look at the people featured on these shows. Like you get a different feel and vibe. It's like,
Yep.
I don't see anything wrong. Once again, people need options.
Different couches
Yeah.
makes you
Yeah.
mini. Just one set. Yes.
Yeah, it's like people need options. Like surely, if there's something you like, you're gonna watch various different takes on it, and it's good to get that perspective, man. So, I think as long as these shows have good intentions and they're consistent, they all do well, then why not have more? If we can all thrive on this, why should that be an issue?
Exactly. No, I agree with that entirely.
Hey, I just had a question on community, right? This is just like a question just for the stage, right? Why are there so many Asians that are into hardstyle? Like in America, they have like a lot of Asians are into EDM. In Australia, a lot of Asians. Why is that? Like, why aren't there so many into rock?
Yeah.
It's like like yeah, man, like
Yeah.
Have you
Will-
considered culturally back from
Vietnam.
whichever country that they had immigrated from?
Uh-huh.
That's the sort of music that they would have played over there.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, because it's
Virus
like-
says
like-
Viet House.
Yeah,
Vienna
shock.
House, yeah.
So at a lot of the shock events, when Avos is doing the Vienna House,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like that stuff.
And then
kinda-
one event as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it just transitions. Were there a lot of Asians back in the day when you first started? I guess into hardstyle.
Funnily enough, in
The bleach
Queensland,
tips.
no. Like
Yeah.
I remember the Asian scene here. It was there, but it was smaller groups.
Mm-hmm.
But I think nowadays we're seeing a lot more Asian people come to our events, which is great.
Mm.
But the one thing I'm starting to see more, which makes me super happy, is seeing more enthusiastic Asians, seeing more people who are not afraid to talk like this and
Yeah.
worry about their friends judging them
Yeah.
after that. I think
Yeah.
that's a really big thing with Asian people, the
Yeah.
whole judging
Yeah.
aspect.
Uh-huh.
And that's why it's good.
The
for this-
gossip, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, my auntie said this, and so it's gotta be true, right?
So that's why I like this. I like how we can all express ourselves, and I'd love to see more and more people in general do that. Because like I said to you before, man, for a while I felt like I was the only person, being enthusiastic about hardstyle. It's great to see so many more people. Like I'll tell you, what I remember when Showtech played a while back. I remember I was the only guy in the club singing to FTS.
Yeah. But we feel like that now. We feel like we went to KO and we were singing, and people look at us oddly because we're singing and we're chanting, and we're like, yeah, and that's where the shift has come across.
Well,
a
to
little bit.
to that crowd's credit,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, Showtech, people who know them are they're older people,
Yeah. They
This
call us
young
purists.
generation, I'm not sure if they know who Showtech is, because when you look at, let's say if you search up Showtech, you would associate them with commercial music these days. Whereas, you wouldn't think that they did hardstyle unless you really dug deep, But I don't think people are doing that. I think people are just listening to current music, They know their Sigmas, their D Block Nest Funds, their D-Sturbs. But
The Hectics.
I wish. But now
SoundCloud.
but now that Showtech's got their album, I feel like, and they've done a collab with Sub-Zero Project, I feel like the new crowd will start to know them.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring
Yeah.
it back a little bit. Hey.
But it doesn't surprise me that no one sung at that point in time.
True. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good
Okay.
point. Yeah.
So we're
Once
not
again,
weird. We're not
perspective.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to family, how did your parents, obviously, because you grew up very Asian, obviously, right? And your parents, did they push you to become like high achieving lawyer, doctor, and they see you as a DJ? Like, did they know you're a DJ?
Yeah, they do.
And they know you run events on the
Yes.
side kind of thing. And are they like, oh, we still want you to drop that and do something a bit more legit kind of thing? Have they ever said anything in that?
He has a
merit?
full-time job. my bro.
Oh, look, it's it's always been challenging with the parents. It's just something I've tried to help them understand. I think they do, but sometimes the questions they ask, it's just like, come on,
Yeah. What do they ask? Like, honey, you make money yet?
Pretty much that whole money. It's always about the money question. I'm just trying to explain to them it's not about them. Then they're thinking, why are you doing it then? I'm like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that whole part on why I'm doing it hasn't quite clicked to them yet, because they only see financial reward, typical Asian parents. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But no, they've always been supportive of it. Like when I first moved up here, they saw I was DJing. They didn't have any issues with it.
Do they live in Queensland?
Not
or-
anymore. They live
okay.
they live in WA now. But
nice.
yeah, I've had good support from them. They've seen me play. They've come to some of my gigs before.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Just an Asian, like a Asian couple in the back, just like go son, yeah.
Yeah.
White sticks and everything.
Yeah.
Well, for 10 years of shock, Andy Vo's parents, for Sick Mode, Andy Vo's
Yes.
parents came to that, and that was their first time coming, and I was like, oh, that's great.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Why do you love hardstyle so much? Why are you so passionate about it? What is it about it?
I mean, it's, since I've always been into hard dance, but the day I listened to hardstyle, I don't know, it's one of those things, and I think you guys can relate here. You see people who can get it from the get-go, right? And then for some people, it just takes a while. It just one day clicks. One day you're like, I actually understand this. It actually sounds good. That's what happened to me with hardstyle. At first, I was like, I don't really like these harder sounds,
Yeah.
And then just one day, it was just like,
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people do that. I've seen so many people just, like take years to grow.
Wait, no. We both like good hardstyle is good hardstyle, right? But when it's just raw for 4 hours, and every kick is the same.
It was Rebellion.
Will, come on, Will.
It was literally the same.
We stand our ground, brother. We
It
stand
was
our ground.
Rebellion and Warface, like two of the leading in that kind of area.
No, Warface was good. It was just like it was Anger Fist for a little.
Anger Fist was
actually
good.
really good.
Anger
Was
Fist
Anger
was
Fist?
great.
Yeah,
I'm forgetting now, but
Yeah.
Anger Fist played last. and we
Yeah.
actually
sorry,
enjoyed
Anger
that.
Fist played last.
Yeah.
He was a good set.
So it was Warface and Rebellion.
Yeah, I just
Dude, and that's my two
it's
favorite
like-
artists.
It's like 3
You're
hours of
shitting
just
on
like zag kicks and shit.
Oh God, whatever. But yeah, sorry. I think you were gonna say something before. I think I saw. No, didn't have
No,
anything.
Just want to defend ourselves.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Because you guys were
please.
talking about raw hardstyle
Yes.
before. Like, I do get a bunch of suggestions saying, oh, we need to put more raw on our events. Like, some people even think a whole night full of it is going to do better for us. So, just want to know, if I were to do that, what do you think that would mean? Is it going to be better or worse for us?
See, and this is where it comes back to what I was asking you earlier. What sort of music the DJ should be playing to try and create that community, especially for beginners. So, like, my partner, she doesn't listen to hardstyle at all, listens to normal EDM. There's only certain artists, and especially certain songs, that she can really listen to when it comes to hardstyle. And that's just like a typical Darren Styles, Showtech, and Headhunters. It's a little bit more beginner friendly because the kicks aren't just so
Yes.
high frequency, loud,
Some dude doing like
obnoxious.
this to the
Just
microphone.
like a lot of raw just seems like white noise, and it's just a constant noise, blast.
Yeah.
Whereas I find that a lot of the more happy hardstyle, euphoric sort of stuff is a little bit more beginner friendly because
Absolutely.
it's got a lot more tempo, a lot more rhythm. It changes and follows like a typical song where you've got slow build up chorus, slow build up chorus, slow build up chorus.
Yeah.
Whereas I find that a lot of raw is just you're going from you don't give yourself a break.
It's a hard thing for new people to get into, not gonna lie. And like, I'll be honest with you guys, every time, and this is the one thing I would like to change, and this is what people often forget, the people who ask me about wanting more raw music at our events. Have you guys seen how many people clear out on the dance floor?
Towards the end, right?
Yeah, sometimes even earlier in the night. I've made the mistake of putting it earlier in the night and seeing people kind of leave, and you just ask yourself, why? Why is there a whole bunch of people asking you about, putting more raw music on? But then about what you said before, I think people have to realize there's so many first timers or people that are new to hardstyle, that come to these events, and sometimes that crowd outweighs the people who like raw,
Exactly. I think in the end, like for me, events balance is obviously a huge thing. Like being able to cater to a really wide audience for an event that's only like maybe at best every month, maybe every 3 months for the bigger events, really. And like that progression, the build up, you're seeing a lot of events structured in a way where it's a gradual build up into that small section, and it's always been like that. So I think the culture understands that, and they should know that. And it's probably only the new kids that probably don't understand that, the way that it's structured at this point in time. Yeah, in all honesty.
Well, your question earlier about what DJ should play, right? Like, this is kind of the conversation I have with them. Like, if raw is what you want to play, you better make sure that what you play is damn good, and what you play is what the crowd likes,
Yeah.
And secondly, Like, if that's what you want to do, then you need to build your identity, because you can't expect to go all guns blazing with no identity, you know? Otherwise, people are not going to be able to relate or connect to it. It's like, if you saw someone that you were very familiar with playing that music, you're more inclined to stay there and support them, you know? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't like telling DJs what
No,
to
yeah,
play,
of course.
because, you know, as a DJ myself, I would hate someone to do that to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what I try and do is help them with what not to play.
Yeah.
So,
And I wanted to ask you just before, like, we're coming close to finishing up as well, so you can get back to work. But, you know, somebody building their name as an artist, you know, so is it now you don't solely rely on your music, and has it always been on like that, or what do you want to do to build yourself up as a name? Yeah.
you know, I had a conversation with Code Black about what it takes to build, like, to have a new career these days, or just to be successful in this industry. Like, more than ever, you need the whole package.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. It's you need to be that social butterfly. You need to be that guy who's got his social media on point. You got to have good music. You got to be a good DJ. You got to be a good entertainer. You got to have all those aspects. It's not about just having good music anymore, you know, because so many people can write music nowadays. Music production is more accessible than it's ever been. So how are you meant to rise above all that when everyone can produce now? You just have to, one, be unique, be a standout, and three, like I said, have the whole package, you know?
Damn. Yeah, it's getting so hard. It's so competitive these days. Hey.
Is it oversaturated?
I wouldn't say that, like, look, there's enough room for people, but I just think, look, in Brisbane right now, what I can say is the biggest challenge I have for the first time is I have way more DJs than events, you know. Back then, I had enough events to kind of rotate a whole bunch of DJs. Now it's getting to the point where I can't keep everyone happy, and I don't. And I do get frustrated DJs hitting me up saying, "Oh, why haven't you booked me?" And it's nothing personal, you know, but like, I've got to kind of make it fair as well, because you've got the balance between pushing the guys who are really trying hard, you know, and there's like a handful of names I can think of that I think should pretty much be there all the time, you know, because they're putting that kind of effort to warrant that. And then
list them out.
I mean, like, for me, you got your 9 to 9, you've got Nugget, you got Big Moo. I think those three names for me, like, because they're pushing music as well. I know Gianovas is starting to get back into it, so I'm really keen to see him, you know, bounce back. I know James Cameron, Everlate, he's starting to do some things. So yeah, you've got those guys who are producing, but like the three I mentioned earlier, those are the kind of guys I'd want to see at almost every event.
Staples in the I guess in the events.
Because for me, it's like, it's important to push local talent. If these guys are writing their own music, their best platform is to play at these events, you know. So
Exactly.
it's hard to not book them, because you know they're our identity at the end of the day, you know.
Exactly. And
So-
as an event, you want to be helping the people that are going to, you know, kind of bring everybody on their backs as well, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
and you know, I try to add new DJs on every time, you know, but like I want the quality to be there. It's not just us booking any DJs, you know. I want each DJ to feel like they've worked hard and they've earned it, rather than be like, oh, it's your turn to play, because we're in that cycle of switching up DJs now.
Yeah.
No, like, yeah, it's starting to, like, what I'm seeing is a lot of people feel privileged, you know, and it really is a big thing to them if they play at shock events, you know, and I want to keep it that way for people.
Yeah.
And for all the new DJs, we've got like the boiler room that we're incorporating at our events now as like the second stage. I don't like calling it a side room or second stage, but I remember the first time we did the boiler room, Nugget 9 to 9 absolutely smashed it. I'm like, I went up there and I'm like, I can't even move.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that is a good thing to have for upcoming DJs, you know, because that will be their, you know, their platform to hopefully play the main stage one day.
Yeah. That's super awesome to hear. Do you guys have anything else by any chance? Yeah.
There's another. I wanted to ask you, what was the thinking behind you opened up? Was it Shock Productions, the other one that does weddings and events?
Yes.
Is that still going? Or
Oh
like,
yeah, it does. And once again, that's just not something I showcase enough. Shock Corporate has run through word of mouth, and we get enough word of mouth business that we don't need to advertise.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think how much time and commitment I want to put towards that, because once again, I need to balance that so it doesn't take up, everything else I'm doing. Shock events will always come first. And if there's room to do, your corporate stuff, and I like doing that, it's like, it's not just setting up a wedding. You got people who like, I've got a wedding, but I've got big vision. They want the DJ, they want the MC, they want the glitz and glamour, but it's also event coordination, giving our expertise on how things work. I think that itself adds value too.
Yeah, it's just really cool to see like you guys branch out, and like I saw some of the posts from Shock Corporate, and I was like, these like do you own the equipment, by the way, or do you
We own a whole bunch of equipment, and we work with a whole bunch of vendors and suppliers to deliver like the decorations. Like we won't do that.
Yeah, you're not doing the flower arrangements.
No.
I don't see Avox and Hectic just like, hey man, can you just change the flowers a little bit?
Oh, if I do start, that kind of business, Project GAC is partnering up.
We're happy for it. Yeah.
Wait, don't you do event management?
No, I don't do event management. I bump in for what do you call it, events. So like the wedding at Fortune Valley Music Hall.
Oh, no way.
So where they had like the floral like line with like, the lights and everything. I bumped in that.
No way.
So we rigged it up and everything. We raised it up in the air, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I later found out it was a Viet wedding. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah. we actually hosted that wedding as well.
Did you?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
I work for a company called OV Ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I wasn't there. I was in Japan for that, so Andy Vo had to lead that charge.
Yeah.
So.
But that was a really cool. Like, you don't realize like so many venues can be transformed into such a cool space.
For sure. And what I'll say is like like I said, everyone in the industry is suffering, and that's the kind of thing Fortitude Music Hall needs to do to kind of ensure bookings continue. So they're more open towards like weddings and corporate events. Even though they're a music venue. So like. Going back to that story, look, in December, we were meant to have Anger Fist or Rebellion. It was either one or the two.
Yeah.
We had a venue booked, and I was ready to go ahead with it, and that venue was like, sorry, we're booked out. And I'm like, I said, any considerations? I said, are you sure? It's like, all booked out, mate. I'm like, okay.
But so you guys already had like talks beforehand?
Yes, talks, but then it gets better. Like a month later, same guy comes back to me and says, oh, venue's free, by the way. And then I'm like, well, I don't have the act anymore. And then I found out that at that time, the venue wasn't even booked. So I'm just like, you guys are fucking idiots because you just lost a great opportunity for all of us.
Exactly.
For you, for us.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we lost the Anger Fist show.
Was it like the end of year kind of shock event?
Yeah. It would have happened last weekend.
Last weekend, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's why I flew down to Adelaide instead to do lasers for that show.
That sucks. And like, obviously, you gotta keep good relations with all like your venue holders and stuff.
Well,
hey?
we now have a better relationship with that venue because senior management got involved and said, look, that's not going to happen again.
Okay, cool.
So
you guys both missed out on opportunity to profit and also to grow your business.
for sure.
Hey?
And we also lost a venue because once again, that venue, I won't say names, but that venue decided, look, you've done great events at our venue. But we can't take you on because this corporate gig they're literally paying like 10 times the amount we can offer.
Oh, okay.
So
That's insane.
and they're a live music venue. They wouldn't accept this on normal terms, but it was too good of an offer to.
Just go to the Vic.
And that's the thing, like, guys, and that's kind of where I draw the line. Like, if I can't get a suitable venue, I'm not gonna downgrade to like a club or anything like that. I don't think our vision is about doing club shows anymore. We want to do like proper venues, like your Princess Theatres.
You can do it here.
Showgrounds.
It'd be an excellent boiler room, wouldn't it?
But yeah, we had a question before, and we'll probably finish up after this one. Or did you
No
have
worries.
something you wanted to say first? No. Eileen was just asking about Andy Vo.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with him? How's he doing? Obviously, congratulations to his, recent engagement and all that as well.
No things
So-
are.
Is Shock Corporate doing the wedding?
Hasn't been discussed yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want here? Do you want Vietnam?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? No, look, it's great. Like we're still going strong. He's still very heavily behind the events. I think what we're focusing on, we're both now trying to push our individual careers together with shock
Yes,
events. Like
exactly.
we realize how important it is to do that. Like yes, we do pretty much everything as Hectic and Avox, and that will still continue. But once again, our solo careers will just have to thrive with that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's all important because it all ties in together with Shock events as well. So I think if we can push our own profiles, then Shock events will grow as a result of it. And then, you know, but aside from that, no, things are great with us. We were looking forward to delivering all those events next year. I know he's super motivated, you know, like I remember when we were planning the January event, he was working super hard to get that, you know, off the ground. So no, he's there's a lot of exciting things to that are coming from him, you know. And I know to a degree he had similar, like, different challenges as well, but he's certainly overcome that as well.
How did you guys even meet? Like, do you guys like see each other on the playground, and you guys been
Club
friends
Candy.
since grade?
Or
Oh, Club Candy.
Club
really?
Candy's when I met him.
That was your playground.
Yeah,
Did
and
you buy him a drink? Oh, we got you another drink, and then
not quite. I remember when I first met him, it was actually on MySpace. You guys,
you
you guys remember that?
Right, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
Dinosaurs.
I know.
Did you poke him on Facebook?
I think so. I remember, like, because, you know, at that time I knew no one. I was trying to find people to just talk to. And I'm like,
Yeah.
seen him. I think it was like on New Year's Eve. I fucking stayed home on New Year's Eve at that time.
Yeah.
And then I saw him. I'm like, started talking to him. I'm like, oh, why is this guy online? But then I was 18 and he was like 15 or 16 at the time. So yeah, we met online, and then eventually when he turned 18, he came to the gigs, and then yeah, it was all history from there.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Do you see him as like your little brother, or is it like a
Not
like
little brother anymore because, like, you know, because he's so mature now. I guess it's like just brothers now.
Yeah.
That's super awesome.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I really like how you guys leading from the front now with Shock. Instead of, you know, you took that supporting role and you've done a great job by that, and now kind of pushing yourself forward and showing the inspiration again.
Oh, for sure, man.
To the camera, what are some things that you would like to say to everybody if you were to give a nice, kind message, positive, and what's to come?
No, well, we've got a lot of exciting opportunities next year. I think next year we're going all out. Like, every event's going to have a big act. If we're not having a big act, we're not doing a show at all. So that's kind of what next year looks like. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. Like, I know March is going to be a bit of a challenging time, but if everyone is up for it, I promise you we'll deliver and make that money worth it, you know? So yeah, keep supporting one another, support the community, guys. Like, I know I need your help more than ever to build this community. So anytime, any ideas you guys have to want to build this, please, let's talk. Let's make something happen.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, this was Project Act. This is Couch Surfing. We're very happy to have Hektic Media, Andy Hektic, on our couch here. And we hope to see you guys in the next one with whoever were to come next.
With the other Andy.
With the other Andy
We
very.
might get even both Andys at the same
Come on.
time. 2-for-1 deal.
We're going to need to lift the camera a bit. He's too so.
He just tours, isn't he? Whenever I see him at an event, I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, man. Hey, great set.
Awesome. And we'll see you guys next
Thanks,
time.
guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.